Hello friends and welcome to Pendulum Edu. Today we'll be discussing daily current affairs of 26 June 2020. So quickly join the session and also ask your friends to join it. Try to add more and more people to the session so that everyone can take benefit of this. And also those who have not subscribed to our channel Pendulum Edu, please subscribe it and do not forget to press the bell icon to receive notification. So let's start the session. First news is important schemes in various sectors were announced during the cabinet meeting, and these schemes are: the decision to increase private sector participation in the space sector in the country was confirmed, and government will be setting up Indian National Space Promotion and Authority Center in space so that the socio-economic use of space technology can be made effective. And also a public sector enterprise, that is New Space India Limited, will attempt to reorient space activities from supply-driven model to demand-based model, ensuring optimum utilization of space assets in the country. So the thing that is privatization of space that was discussed during Atmanirbhar Bharat package. So this is the aim of this New Space India Limited for optimum utilization of space assets in the country. And urban cooperative and multi-stake cooperative banks, they'll be brought under the direct supervision of RBI. And in order to provide employment to about 35 lakh youths in the country, government has decided to create a animal husbandry infrastructure development fund. So remember, infrastructure development fund, which is based on animal husbandry, for animal husbandry infrastructure development fund has been decided to be set up, and this will be of worth rupees 15,000 crore, and this will be related to animal husbandry, dairy and livestock. It will be developing this fund will be used in developing infrastructure in enterprises which are related to animal husbandry, dairy and livestock. Under this scheme, up to 90% of the loans will be given by banks to start such enterprises. So the people who will be starting the enterprises related to animal husbandry, dairy and livestock, so under this scheme they will be given 90% of the loans by the banks. And also they will be the government has also increased the interest rebate or interest subvention by 3% to all such loans under this scheme. The term of the OBC Commission has also been extended till January 31st of the next year, and under India's Look East policy, ONGC will invest more than rupees 900 crore for research and development of 2 gas blocks in Myanmar. So a question can be asked that recently cabinet has approved which of the PSU to invest in the research and development of 2 gas blocks in Myanmar. So the answer will be ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited. Moving to the question part, recently with how much amount has the government decided to create animal husbandry infrastructure development fund? 10,000 crores, 15,000 crores, 18,000 crores and 20,000 crores. So quickly comment the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer will be option B, that is 15,000 crores. And this animal husbandry infrastructure development fund, it will be used to fund the infrastructure related to enterprises such as animal husbandry, livestock, etc. Next is a free digital learning platform Skill Build Reignite has been launched, and this platform was launched by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, that is MSDE, and in partnership with IBM. Okay, this platform aims to reach more job seekers and provide them new resources to business owners in India. And also under the aegis of MSDE, Directorate General of Training DGT has announced that a 10-week skill build innovation camp for students will be conducted, and this camp will provide digital skills training to these students of cloud computing and artificial intelligence. So these two, the training will be given to the students in these two fields, that is cloud computing and artificial intelligence. Now the question for you guys, recently free digital learning platform Skill Build Reignite has been launched by which ministry? Comment quickly the correct answer. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Quickly comment the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer will be option A, that is Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Moving to the next news. Ministry of Tourism presented 37th webinar titled Vedic Food and Spices of India, and this webinar has been organized under Dekho Apna Desh webinar series. So Dekho Apna Desh, it is an initiative in which the government aims to increase the tourism, that the person living in India should know what are the various cultural heritages, traditions of India, so that they can value the people, they can value the cultural traditions of each other, and at the end it will promote the rich cultural diversity of India, and also it will promote the feeling of brotherhood, as it will share the same aim as that of Ek Bharat Shresht Bharat. Its purpose is to show the qualities and benefits of the ancient health science of the country, and this webinar has been attempted to dispel myths about certain type of food. So the myths which have been associated with certain kinds of food, so that will be also dispelled through this webinar series. And Dekho Apna Desh webinars, these are presented by the Ministry of Tourism in collaboration with National E-Governance Division formed by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Moving to the question part, recently the Ministry of Tourism has organized its dash on the title of Vedic Food and Spices of India under Dekho Apna Desh webinar series. So 37th, 35th, 33rd and 39th. So quickly comment the correct answer. What will be the correct answer? Yes, it will be option A, that is 37th webinar. Moving to the next news, approval for giving 2% interest subvention for 1 year to Shishu loan account holders. So first of all, what is this interest subvention? So interest subvention means that the government will pay some part of the interest. So when government pays some part of the interest, that is called interest subvention, and if this Shishu loan account holders will get 2% interest subvention. So if a person, a Shishu loan account holder, if he is paying an interest of suppose X percent on the loan taken by him, then the person is will be eligible to pay only X minus 2%. That is, this 2% will be paid by the government for that particular loan. And under this loans will be given for those accounts on which there is no outstanding loan till March 31st of the year as per RBI instructions. So this is important, that under this the loans will be given for those accounts on which there is no outstanding loan till March 31st of 2020 as per the RBI instructions. And this scheme will provide incentives to the people, and only if they pay the loan on time, that is the people who have taken loan under the Mudra Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, and if they are repaying the loan on time, then they will be given this incentive or 2% interest subvention. Under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, Shishu loan is provided for income generating activities up to rupees 50,000. So you have to tell me that which 3 types of loan are given under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Comment quickly. Yes, Shishu loan for up to 50,000 rupees. Then next is Kishore, 50,000 to rupees 5 lakh. And next is Tarun, which is rupees 5 lakh to 10 lakh. So these 3 types of loan are given under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Shishu up to 50,000, Kishore 50,000 to rupees 5 lakh, and Tarun 5 to 10 lakh. And this scheme is implemented by Small Industries Development Bank of India, that is SIDBI, for 1 year from 1st July 2020. So a question can be asked that which of the following is the implementing agency for this Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana scheme? So the correct answer will be, what will be the correct answer? SIDBI, that is Small Industries Development Bank of India. Moving to the question part, recently Union Cabinet has approved how much interest subvention for 1 year financial assistance to all eligible Shishu loan account holders under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. 5%, 4%, 2% and 6%. So comment quickly the correct answer. How much interest subvention will be given? Yes, the correct answer is option C, that is 2%. Moving to the next news. Recently, Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan released Annual TB Report 2020 through a virtual program, and for this report, an online notification of TB patients was conducted. The process has been gone completely online, and this was done through Nikshay system. And what were the key highlights of the report? So first is that more than 24 lakh TB patients have been notified in 2019, and these have increased by 14% compared to 2018. In 2017, the number of missing cases had come down to 2.9 lakh as against more than 10 lakh cases. Private sector notifications increased by 35% with 6.78 lakh TB patients. Due to the easy availability of molecular diagnostics, the proportion of children diagnosed with TB increased to 8% in 2019 as compared to 6% in 2018. The provisions of HIV testing for all notified TB patients increased from 67% in 2018 to 81% in 2019. The treatment success rate of notified patients also increased by 12%. And during the occasion, Joint Monitoring Mission report, a manual on direct benefit transfer for TB patients, a training module, and a quarterly newspaper, or you can say a quarterly newsletter, Nikshay Patrika, were released. And Nikshay, what is this Nikshay? A question can be asked that recently in news, what is Nikshay? So it is a web-enabled patient management system for TB control under the National Tuberculosis Eradication Program. So keep in mind, such questions are asked that some keywords are there in news, and what are they related to? It has been asked in the past exams. So there are possibilities that such type of questions can be asked in future also. So now you have to tell me that TB is caused by which microorganism, that is bacteria, virus, algae or fungi. Comment quickly the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer is bacteria. And what is the name of this bacteria? It is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, this Mycobacterium tuberculosis causes TB among people, among humans. So moving to the question part. With respect to the annual TB report 2020, what is not correct? So read the question very carefully, that what is asked, whether it is asked what is correct or what is not correct. So in this question, it is asked what is not correct. First statement is more than 24 lakh TB patients have been notified in 2019. Next is the proportion of children diagnosed with TB increased to 8% in 2019. The treatment success rate of notified patients has increased by more than 50%. So you have to tell which is not correct. 1 only, 2 only, 1 and 3, 3 only. So quickly comment the correct answer. Yes, option D is the correct answer. That is, the third statement is not true and first and second statements are true. Moving to the next news. Devika Bridge was inaugurated at Udhampur. So recently, our Union Minister of State for Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh, has inaugurated the Devika Bridge over Devika River in Udhampur. And along with this, the Puneja Bridge, which was under construction, of Bhaderwa, Bashauli, Pathankot National Highway in Doda district of Jammu Kashmir, it was also inaugurated. So a question can be asked that this Puneja Bridge, it is related to which state? So Jammu and Kashmir will be the correct answer for that. The road will provide an important alternative link to Doda, Kishtwar and Ramban districts, and also the construction work for these both bridges was done by Border Roads Organization. So what is this Borders Road Organization, BRO? It develops and maintains a road network in India's border areas and friendly neighboring countries. It is headquartered in New Delhi and it was founded in May 1960 by Jawaharlal Nehru. Moving to the question part, where has the Devika Bridge inaugurated recently? Quickly comment the correct answer. Udhampur, Kozhikode, Guwahati and Ratnagiri. Yes, the correct answer is option A, Udhampur. Guys, keep commenting the correct answer and join more and more people to the session. Also, press the like button. Decarbonizing Transport in Emerging Economies project launched in India by Niti Aayog and ITF. So what is this ITF? It is International Transport Forum of OECD. OECD. OECD is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. And this OECD, you have to tell me where are the headquarters of this OECD located. Comment quickly. Yes, it is located in Paris, France. So recently this decarbonizing transport in emerging economics project, it was launched by Niti Aayog and it has been launched in India. This project, it is a 5-year project and it will prove to be useful in India, leading India towards a low carbon transport system. This Indian project is part of decarbonizing transport in emerging economies, which is a family of projects, and this family of projects support transportation decarbonization in various regions of the world. Currently, the participating countries in this project are India, Argentina, Azerbaijan and Morocco. So these 4 are the participating country in this project. The decarbonizing transport in emerging economies, it is a collaboration between ITF and the Wuppertal Institute, supported by the International Federal Climate Initiative of the German Federal Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety. India's transport sector is the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emitting sector. So a question can be asked, or you can there can be a question for arranging that. Suppose they have given that like service sector, okay, manufacturing sector, and they have given transport sector. Okay, they have given you in a question, they have given you 1, 2, 3, 3 sectors are given, and they can ask you that arrange the following sectors according to their contribution in greenhouse gas emission. So you have to arrange them. So for that you should know that which sector produces how much or contributes how much to the greenhouse gas emissions. So India's transport sector, it is the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emitting sector. Of the total carbon dioxide emissions in India, 13% come from the transport sector, and these emissions have tripled since 1990. And in India, emissions of carbon dioxide per citizen are equivalent to 1/20th part of the average OECD country. Although this emission of carbon dioxide per citizen, it is very less in comparison to what an average OECD country produces, but it has been said that India's transport carbon dioxide emissions are likely to increase by about 6% annually by 2030. Therefore, such type of projects need to be installed in India, and also Indian government needs to transform its this transport sector, need to move to low carbon emission transports. Moving to the question part, who has launched the Decarbonizing Transport in Emerging Economies project in India? National Green Tribunal, Niti Aayog, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. So quickly comment the correct answer. Who has launched Decarbonizing Transport in Emerging Economics project in India? Yes, the correct answer is option B, that is Niti Aayog. Moving to the next news. The Financial Action Task Force, that is FATF, has retained Pakistan in the grey list, and the decision was taken because Pakistan has failed to check the flow of funds to terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. So basically, Pakistan is still blamed for its terror funding, terror support. Therefore, this decision was taken, and it was taken during the 3rd and final plenary of FATF, which was headed by Xiangmin Liu of China. And in such a situation, it will now be difficult for Pakistan to get financial support from IMF, World Bank, ADB and European Union. So FATF basically produces 2 lists, that is grey list and another is blacklist. So grey list is basically a list of warning that is issued to a country that if it supports or it continues to support terror funding or money laundering activities, or it acts as a safe tax haven for terror funding, then it will be shifted to blacklist. So currently Pakistan has been placed in this grey list, and if Pakistan do not change its behavior, or if it does not comply to the provisions of the FATF, then it will be shifted to the blacklist, where already two countries are present, that is Iran and North Korea. So these two countries have been blacklisted by FATF, and also a country which is under grey list, then there are chances that that country can be boycotted, and also it will be difficult for a particular country to get financial support from major economic organizations like IMF, World Bank, ADB or European Union. So now Pakistan will remain on the grey list until next meeting of the FATF to be held in October. If Pakistan fails to follow the FATF directives by October, then it can be shifted to the blacklist along with North Korea and Iran. Talking about FATF, it is an intergovernmental organization. It was established in 1989 to develop policies to deal with money laundering on the initiative of G7. In 2001, financing of terrorism was also added to this responsibility of FATF. So FATF mainly deals with money laundering cases and financing of terrorism. These on the basis of these two things, the countries are placed in grey list or blacklist, and its headquarters are located in Paris, France. Currently it has 39 members. So a question can also be asked that how many members are there in FATF? So 39 members are there, and it has two regional organizations which are included among 39 members, that is European Commission and Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. Okay, now the question part: under which list has the Financial Action Task Force decided to keep Pakistan? Black, white, grey and red. Quickly comment the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer is option C, that is grey list. Moving to the next news, Kushinagar Airport has been given the status of an international airport, and Kushinagar is located in Uttar Pradesh. Kushinagar Airport will open new avenues for development of the eastern side and pave the way for the development of Purvanchal region. And granting this status to Kushinagar Airport, it will help in developing Buddhist circuit, which includes the following places. So comment quickly, this Buddhist circuit is related to which scheme? There are total 13 thematic circuits which have been identified for developing under which scheme? Comment quickly. Yes, it is Swadesh Darshan scheme, which is a scheme of Ministry of Tourism. So the scheme, that is Swadesh Darshan scheme, it aims to develop 13 thematic circuits, and one of them is Buddhist circuit, one of them is Ramayana circuit. So such type of circuits are there. The major aim is to develop these circuits so that tourism can be boosted in country, and along with this also the cultural heritage of India can be promoted. So this Buddhist circuit, a question can also be asked that which of the following places are present in Buddhist circuit. So these are Kushinagar, Sarnath, Shravasti, Kapilavastu, Kaushambi, Sankisa, Lumbini and Bodh Gaya. So this scheme is important. Kindly revise this scheme, and out of these 6 of them are located in UP. Situated 50 kilometers from Gorakhpur, Kushinagar is a pilgrimage center for Buddhists. Why? Because Gautam Buddha gave his last ceremony and attained Mahaparinirvan or death over this place. So while consuming a type of soup, so Buddha died at the age of 80, around 80, and this all happened in the Kasia village of this Kushinagar district. Earlier, Jewar International Airport in Gautam Budh Nagar of state was given the status of international airport, and this ensured air connectivity to the western part of the state. So a question for you guys: recently which airport has been given the status of international airport? Comment quickly. Kaushambi, Kushinagar, Sarnath and Lumbini. Quickly comment the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer for this is option B, that is Kushinagar. Lumbini is a place where Buddha was born. Gautam Buddha was born in Lumbini. And Sarnath is a place where Buddha gave his first sermon. Okay, the first sermon was given by Buddha in Sarnath. Moving to the next news. Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation BMC started Mission Universal Testing in Mumbai. Under this mission, 1 lakh antigen test kits will be made available at civilian operated hospitals, government hospitals, COVID-19 care centers, etc. This kit will deliver the results in only 30 minutes. As per the instructions issued by the state government, antigen testing will be acceptable only through the SD biosensor company kit approved by the ICMR. People who are older than 70 years can get themselves tested without any prescription, and other can get themselves tested through e-prescription. Okay. So this is a scheme. Now question for you. Recently Mission Universal Testing has been started in which city? Kolkata, Chennai, Delhi and Mumbai. Comment quickly the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer for this is option D, that is Mumbai. Moving to the next news. Launch of credit guarantee scheme by Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and this is the scheme is credit guarantee scheme for subordinate debt. The scheme, it will provide assistance to the promoters of current MSME sector and which are facing financial crunch and have not been able to pay their outstanding debts by 30 April this year. About 2 lakh entrepreneurs will get help from this scheme. And another scheme, loan guarantee up to rupees 20,000 crore will be given to the promoters who can take loan from the bank for further investment in their MSME sector enterprises. Under this, promoters of micro, small and medium industries will be given a loan equal to 15% of their shares or rupees 75 lakh, whichever is less. Basically, this under this scheme, a pool of rupees 20,000 crore will be costed for the government, and under this, those who will be promoting micro, small and medium industries or medium enterprises, they will be given a loan equal to 15% of their share or 75 lakh, whichever is less. Also, there will be a moratorium of 7 years on payment of principal, and the maximum period of payment will be of 10 years. So a question for you guys, what is the maximum period for payment of principal amount under the recently launched credit guarantee scheme for subordinate debt? 15 years, 10 years, 12 years and 8 years. Comment quickly the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer is option B, that is 10 years. So friends, here we have comprehensively covered daily current affairs of 26 June, and I hope you like this session. Please like it, share it as much as you can. Also, if you have any doubt, you can mention that in the comment box. You can also join us on our Telegram channel. If you want to read these news in detail, you can go to our website and read over there. You can also download the PDF. Keep preparing well. All the best. Thank you so much.